Testing, 1, 2. This is DJ Jungle Cats coming back at you for another episode of the Den FM, live on the Instagram, broadcasting straight to your telephone devices wherever you may be in the world. Tonight has been a long time coming for this conversation. It's actually taken this person a lot of confidence to come on here and come in front of a large audience online. So I'm super excited to invite my good friend Ellie Hayden to join us on the live. Elle, how are you?
Oh, hey!
Congratulations, you've done it.
I reckon it's taken you about 2 weeks to get me to this point.
The amount of times I've been like, and tomorrow night, Ellie Hayden on the live. And it falls to, no, I can understand where you're coming from with the, just the confidence to come in front of the audience on here. So big ups to you, Elle, for jumping on. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling good. Feeling ready to answer some juicy little questions.
You're glowing with health, Elle. You're glowing. Did you train today?
I did, yeah. I got home from work and I had a ton of energy. So I went for a run and actually got a PB. So that was pretty cool.
Hey, I did see that actually. Ooh.
Yeah, so there was this guy running in front of me and I couldn't let him get away. So I ended up just running really well.
As is the
cool.
competitive streak that you have.
Oh, yeah. So yeah,
but
I just did a class at F45 and it was the weight session today, so that was really good.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So you doubled up.
Pardon?
You doubled up.
Yeah, it's good to double up on like a cardio and then a weights in the day. So I really like doing that.
A cardio and a weight session in the one day.
That's right. Yeah.
Elle, I've known you for a long time, but for the people that haven't, give us a quick little rundown. What's been going on in Ellie Hayden world the past couple years?
Oh, so basically me and Elliot met when we were both living on Roto, on a little island in WA. So that was some really good times. And then from there, we sort of went our own way and did a couple traveling for couple years traveling. So since then, I guess I was living in Canada and that lifestyle was really, really unhealthy.
We seem to be having some technical difficulties there. Was your phone on something?
No, can you hear me?
Yeah, you cut out there though. You said you went to Canada and the lifestyle there didn't work for you. That's the last we got.
Okay, so yeah, went to Canada, I was partying heaps, just came back to Australia feeling so unhealthy. I pretty much had pneumonia when I was over there. I was sort of up every single night, coughing up blood and just not healthy at all. And like living in sub-degree temperatures did that to me as well. So yeah, just really craved coming back to Australia and just like really focusing on my fitness and health.
And you mentioned just before that you had a ton of energy when you finished work. That's kind of a stark contrast from you of a couple of years ago, I know.
Yeah, seriously. Like I used to find it so hard to, get out of bed early in the mornings before work or after work or whenever it was, and had no motivation to go work out. But I don't know, since I made fitness a habit and a routine in my life, I crave it, like it's my favorite part of the day. So yeah, that's been a huge turning point for me, just like having loads of energy every single day and just like really looking forward to it.
Talk us through how you've made it a habit, because for a lot of people, they get the motivation to kind of go down there and they might do a week or so. Why is it that you think that it's stuck for you? Was it seeing results for yourself, or that energy just kind of made such a drastic change in your life that you kind of stuck it out? Or how do you get through? Because I know a lot of people out there try and don't get into the habit of going and lose the confidence.
Yeah, and that was me for so long too. I think I would go in and out of being healthy for, you know, periods of my life for years. And then something just changed last year where I just needed it more than ever. I just needed to have a good diet and have a good exercise routine and have that routine in life, which I never really got when I was traveling. It was really hard. So how did I get the routine? I guess what first changed me is seeing results. You know, I probably lost about 10 kilos, which I've since gained back in, you know, muscle, but it's all muscle, which is nice. And I don't like focus on the scales or whatever anymore. It's just how I'm feeling. But yeah, originally it was how I was looking. So that was a huge turning point. And then from there, I noticed my mental state was just so much better. I was happier. I had more energy. And that's what I really started to crave, like the way that it made me feel. And even people around me started noticing, like, they're like, you're so much happier and like you just like want more from life and stuff. And that's when I was like, this is really good for me. And yeah, I couldn't imagine my life without it now.
Was that something that happened straight away when you started training again? Or did it take a bit of time to kind of set in?
I think to get the habit, it took me probably a solid month. So the thing that happened to me was when I came back to Australia, I kind of bounced around a couple of gyms and didn't really know what I was doing. So that was a bit disappointing. And then I started running again, and I've always loved running. You know, just keeping me motivated, and the teams there is really good. So yeah, that was the thing that it got me into that routine of making it a habit every single day to go. So I think it took me about a month before I started seeing results in how I was looking. And then, you know, like even to the point where my skin was clearing up because I wasn't drinking and I was just exercising and eating better just from like working out is one thing. But when you work out, you crave everything else to be good. You know, you crave to drink water and you crave to eat well, and just everything happens from it. So yeah, I think it took me a bit to get into the habit, but once I started seeing the results, then I was pretty hooked.
Yeah, I think something that you said there, which was huge, was how you said that when it becomes a habit, you crave everything, and that's even come down to you getting up before work. You start at 6:30, but you still get up before work and get the session in, which is pretty phenomenal.
Yeah, I get up at 4:30 most days and just get a session in, and then after work, because I've worked out, I find that I have heaps of energy. So whether that be like going for a surf or a dive, I'll like make something happen, or going for a run after work. But yeah, it's weird how working out gives you more energy. Like, I think people think that if you work out, you're going to be flat, you're going to have no energy because you've been working out, but it's so not the case.
A massive point that you said before, but I didn't want to stop you because you're on a bit of a roll, but I think it's probably the biggest statement and the truest statement that anyone's made on these live conversations. Was you said, and it could have the biggest impact for especially girls out there, you said you lost 10 kilos initially, which you then put 10 kilos back on as muscle, and you're not fussed about it.
No.
For girls that are listening and they get anxious about what they look like and they can't embrace what their physique is, can you shed some light on how you've found kind of peace of mind with that?
Yeah, so I think it's such a big thing for me, because when I hear girls around me going, oh, I've gained like a kilo this week, or I need to lose like 8 kilos before I can be healthy and happy, it's so not true. And I wish I could just shake them and be like, no, like, it doesn't matter. Stop weighing yourself. So how I knew this, I'll take it back. I got an in-body scan, which is just a complete body scan that tells you how much fat is on your body, how much protein is in you, and how much, you know, how much your bones weigh, to like that kind of point where it's all very specific. And so when I started out, I think I was at 20% body fat, which is in the healthy range for a girl. I'm not saying I was, you know, fat or unhealthy or something, but I was unhealthy in myself and I wanted to make a change. So I was sitting at about 20% body fat. And then after, I think it was 5 or 6 months of training at F45 and doing stuff outside as well, like I would run or I would go to the gym, I was down to, at my fittest point, I was at 13% body fat, which is classed as an athlete because I was working out so much and I just lost so much body fat. But from the point that I'd started training to the point where I measured myself again, I was like 3 or 4 kilos heavier because my muscle mass had just gone straight up and my fat had gone, you know, down. So everyone knows that muscle weighs more than fat. So the scales just really don't matter. And it's just educating yourself, I guess, to know that they don't matter and to know that. And you can see it too, like, right? You can see that you've lost fat and you've put muscle on because you're more defined and you're slimmer. But yeah, just don't get caught up in the scales. It just really doesn't matter.
Doesn't tell the full story, that's for sure. And it's definitely something that I think girls get caught up with, like you said. But what about comparing your physique to other girls on social media? Can you shed some light on that? Because I know that's something that's kind of been a big topic or kind of issue or something for you to wrap your head around. And you've certainly, like, as your friend, I've watched you push through that and come out the other side. So I think it'd be pretty powerful for you to share your insight there too.
Yeah, so I think it's super hard, and I have definitely been caught before in the trap of, you know, like going through really skinny girls' profiles and being like, oh, why don't I look like that? Or I'm training, like, why aren't I stick figure thin and stuff like that? And it's so easy to do, especially with social media. Like, to compare yourself, all you need to do is log in online, and that's like, it just depends on your mind space and how you're looking at it. And I am definitely still working on it. Like, I have my good weeks and my bad weeks, and I think the biggest thing for me is realizing that everyone's body types are so different and genetics play a huge role.
100%.
And so like these girls who are stick thin and, you know, are really like classed as the sort of ideal body figures, but they have complete different genetics to me, which is quite a muscular build. So after I realized that, and that was just through following influential people that I found quite positive, and that's also been a huge factor. So for instance, I started following a lot of the Gymshark athletes, and that was huge for me because they're all really muscular girls, and they all, you know, they lift weights and they do high intensity cardio sessions, and now I aspire to be like that. Whereas before I would aspire to body types that just weren't mine. So that was a huge thing for me, just figuring out that it's okay. Like, that's fine that that's not going to be me. But yeah, it's definitely something that I struggle with, and I see so many other people struggle with, like friends of mine. But yeah, it is hard. Yeah,
it's definitely hard, that's for sure. But seeing you embrace that has been pretty special. And it's even happens for guys as well. I spoke about it on here before about the like ideal guy build and not having that as well. So it works both ways for any dudes that are tuning in as well. But I really get a lot out of seeing you. Like, you see lots of girls posting pictures on social media or whatever. But I love when you post like videos of you actually doing chin-ups or, you know, almost like untraditional exercises that you would see the kind of stereotypical girl doing on social media. I think that's a massive attribute that you've got, Elle.
Thanks. Yeah, I got a message from a girl a couple of weeks ago now, and I think I told you about this, but I might not have. But she basically sent me a message, and she was like, I don't mean this to be offensive at all. Like, I'm a huge fan of what you're doing and you motivate me, but how do you stay positive about the way that you look even though you're not stick figure thin? That was her words. And at the time of reading that, I was sort of having a bad week, and I was like, yeah, I don't really know how to answer that. And but now looking back on it, like, if I was to answer that girl, I would just say, like, it was realizing that my genetics don't match up with everyone else's, and that's totally fine. Like, if I don't look that certain way, I know that I'm healthy, and that's all that matters.
100%. And you can see it too, like when I've watched kind of you over the past couple of years with your fitness journey and your health journey, like seeing you now, you can see the health when like you're glowing with health and you look really toned, you know, you can see it in someone, which kind of pictures you can't really see that, the honest story. But talk to us about your social media detox that you just had recently. What was the reason behind that, and how did that play with your mental headspace?
Reasons for that. I've had a few of them before, but this has been the biggest one, and I feel like myself and a lot of other people are starting to spend less and less time on Instagram. And it is so powerful that we're all choosing to do that kind of recently. But
sorry for having you on the live.
Cheers.
This is precious minutes on Instagram.
Straight after this. I'm done.
This will do me for the next 2 weeks.
I don't know. I guess I was just having a bad week, and I was realizing that I was comparing myself a lot, and that made me just completely want to switch off and just give myself a break and let me realize that it doesn't actually matter. Like I was seriously. But yeah, it was really good for me. I just did the same as I would usually do. Oh, hey.
Oh, hey. It's all right.
We're back.
We're back. Yeah, so you just did the same as you would usually do?
Yeah, I just did the same, but I found, every time I would go to pull my phone out to film, whatever it would be, like on a run, and I would film the sunset or anything, I kind of just I was like, oh, wait, like that's actually, I can't do that because I don't have anything. And that was really nice. It was different, but it was good. And it sounds sad that you have to have a detox, but I think it's really important to, even there's a thing on Instagram where you can set your notifications to tell you when you've reached your daily limit. And so I've started doing that, whereas before I would spend a couple hours on Instagram a day, and it logs all that for people who don't know. But yeah, you can actually set a reminder. So I found that's really good as well.
I think you're covering the speaker there. So you had a couple days off. Did you get a appreciation for the things that you really value? I feel like when I have a break from social media, I really realize the things that I actually love and the things that I just do because I feel like I have to post it on social media, if that makes sense.
That makes so much sense, and that's what I found too. I started surfing a lot more than I usually would, and I wasn't worried about, filming it to show people that I was surfing, even though it just really doesn't matter. Like, why does that matter? But yeah, it was really good. I just hung out with friends and actually text people, which was different because usually I'm just using my DMs and what are you up to? But
text message, what's that?
What is that? What's iMessage? I don't know.
Yeah.
No, it was really good, and I think I'll be definitely limiting my time on Instagram and social media in general from now on. But if I ever do need a detox, I kind of realize that straight away, and I know when I've had enough. So yeah, that's been really good.
Which is probably the most important skill to have if you are having trouble with social media, or you're noticing it is consuming you, just being conscious of the time that you are spending on it, like you have been. All right, also wrapping up, for the girls out there that are kind of a bit down in the dumps and they're a bit hit and miss with their fitness and they're lacking confidence and comparing themselves on social media, what kind of words of wisdom can you give them as a point of guidance?
I would say the thing that's helped me is go out there, get a really cute activewear set that you feel confident in, set your alarm an hour earlier and just go for a walk, or, you know, if you like bike riding, go for a bike ride or go for a swim. Wherever you are, you can always do something, and I promise you, like, if you make that a habit, it's just going to make such a huge difference in not only like the way you look, but the way you feel about yourself and other people, and your motivation levels will go up. So yeah, just try and make it a habit.
That's a magical point to wind things up, Elle. Thanks so much for your time, and well done for jumping on here, even though you kind of weren't a bit anxious about jumping on.
Thanks for bullying me for 2 weeks straight. It's been fun.
I was like, any day now, if I just keep pushing her, she'll go.
Oh, it took you 2 work visits, and yeah, it took you a lot.
Yeah, I know.
Well done.
So surely another you'll jump back on here in a couple of weeks' time for another return and update.
Couple years,
hasn't been
that
bad, has it?
No, it's been great.
Hey, after your run this afternoon, 4 minutes 30 pace for 5Ks. What's any plans of a running race in the future, Elle? It's some pretty serious times being dropped on Strava.
Between me and you.
Little collab. Nah, just any running races. GC Mara, Bali Hope Ultra.
Yeah, nah. Oh, I've been thinking about it. Maybe might do a little cheeky half marathon, or what's that? Is that the 20-kilometer one?
21 Ks.
Yeah, I've been thinking about doing that. One of my friends does it, and it's super inspiring to see her training, and I kind of like coincide with her and post stories as well, and we feed off each other, so that's been cool. By feed,
I don't think it'd be on you. I reckon you'd surprise yourself.
Yeah. So we'll see. I'm gonna look into it for sure.
Well, maybe that can be the topic of our next conversation. Ellie Hayden prepares for half marathon action.
I'll see you there.
All right, Elle. Thanks so much for jumping on and sharing your thoughts. Really appreciate it.
Thanks.
And
for the
big
chat,
up to ya. Love ya. Bye.
All right. Catch ya.
Ellie Hayden there. Massive step for the podcast as a whole, bringing the topic of body image and the ups and downs of social media onto the potty. Would love to get your thoughts. Get over there and get behind Elle. Took a lot from her to get on here, so make sure you let her know how great she did, stepping out of her comfort zone there. Big ups to her, and big ups to you for tuning in. If you are,
and please give us a review just to help the continuance of the podcast. But if you're tuning in on the live, thanks again for jumping on. We'll be back again for another episode. I'll see you then. Hope you have a wonderful evening or wonderful day wherever you are. Take care. Love you all. Bye.